Hello everyone and welcome to another vlog. Today I'm gonna do a sunrise. It's gonna be the side of a mountain in the sunrise light, and we're gonna discuss panoramas versus wide angles. What are the advantages of these two techniques and which to use in different occasions. My name is Toma, Photo Tom here on YouTube. I'm a full-time landscape and travel photographer, so if you're interested in this kind of topics, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. That's the mountain I'm going to photograph, and that's the beautiful silhouette. I also have those beautiful clouds on top of the mountain, and I'm gonna capture it a lot tighter. This is wider over there. There's the full moon. Too bad it's not over here, but I'm gonna capture a frame something like this with a wide angle, and then I'm gonna do a panorama of this. Because I received the light from my left and the light is gonna fall on the mountain from the left of the mountain, I will not need gradiated filters for this shot. And this is a very important thing, because when you're photographing panoramas and wide angle shots, if you have to do a bracketing because you don't have any gradiated shots, then the panorama becomes a little harder to stitch. It's not impossible, of course. First you merge the HDR, the bracketing images, and after that you merge the panorama. But for some people these technical aspects can be a challenge, and that is why I chose a position where I don't need to bracket, I don't need to use anti-gradient filters. Everything comes from one shot, so this makes everything much more simple. Now it's time to do the first shot. So I'm gonna do a wide shot, and after that I'm gonna do a panorama. I'll switch the camera to portrait mode and go further, doing lots of images and stitch them together. Short tip: whenever you do a panorama, use a signaling method. I'm using my 3 fingers to point the beginning and the end of the panorama. This way I know when I look in Lightroom at all those shots that I took during the day, that I know exactly what that sequence is. I also use 1 finger if I'm doing focus stacking or HDR images, so it's very useful for you to know exactly and very quickly where the panoramas are. Another very useful tip is when you're doing panoramas, if you don't have a panoramic head, I don't like buying all sorts of gear, just for example buying a panoramic head only for this. So in order to avoid the problems of creating the stitching of the panorama, use longer focal lengths. This is my way of doing. If you're going about 35 millimeters, and I'm going well beyond, I'm going from 50 millimeters up. If you're going above 50 millimeters, you won't have those problems. So use a longer focal length and use the camera in portrait mode, just like that, and this way you have a lot of surface on the vertical, and then on the horizontal you capture as many shots as you want. Also overlap about 30% from one shot to another. Also make sure that you do only one focus in the beginning of the panorama, and then you don't do any focus anymore. So either you switch your lens to manual, or you set your shutter button not to do focusing and you do the focus with another button. When you do a panorama, you have few advantages. First, the megapixel is really high, so the prints will be really crisp and will have all the details you want. So for really big prints, panoramas are an absolute must if you don't have a camera with lots of megapixels. The level of detail again is really high. Not only the images is having lots of megapixels, but the details when you're looking at 100% on 1 by 1, the level of detail is really big. And third, I think panoramas in some occasions, especially for example during forests, present the scene, the landscape in much more interesting format. It gives you a sense of space. On the other hand, when you're photographing with a wide angle lens, you have the possibility to create a really dynamic shot. You have the possibility to have a really powerful foreground element. The minus is that the background elements are going to be diminished, are going to be smaller because of the wide focal length. But again, it has a completely different look. When you're going to zoom in the background, you're not going to see that many details. But again, using a wide-angle shot, a wide-angle focal, it's not about that. It's about creating a really powerful composition that throws you into the frame. Now that you know the benefits of each of these techniques, I think it's time to enjoy these techniques, and I think it's time for me to start photographing. Very soon I'm going to have a really interesting opportunity. The moon is setting, and the minute it touches the top of a hill over there, I think the sun is rising right now, I'm going to have an interesting shot, and I'm going to use the telephoto lens for that. That is something that is a bonus for today. But the main subject is going to be the mountain and the sunrise light. So let's wait for that and photograph it, and then just enjoy and take a look at these photos. This was it for today. I hope you found this discussion between panoramas and wide-angle shots useful. If you have anything to add, just use the comment section below. Thanks for watching, thanks for being a subscriber, and bye-bye.